expect others to join, we can start because of our time. I welcome every one of us to this webinar that is organized by the Neuroscience Society of Nigeria. And the program will be like we are going to have this opening. Thereafter, we have the citation of the speakers. And to do that for us will be our secretary, Dr. Eberechi Wogu. And she will read the citation of each of the speakers before they give their presentation. The first presenter will be Dr.Chinna Orish. And I want to welcome every one of us as we are joining, and to say that we are continuing the tradition that we started last year when we had this sort of seminar, and which spanned 2 weeks and 2 hours each. The speakers today are tested and in the area of their presentation, and I believe that we are going to gain tremendously from their experiences. And I do hope that this will also encourage us to be more active in the society and contribute our quotas so that we can move neuroscience forward in our country. So without wasting further time, I think presently here, I have the immediate past president here, and we have other people joining us from different places. So please do enjoy yourself. At the end of the 2 presentations, we are going to have the Q&A, and do not hesitate to put in your questions to the chat box, and the questions will be attended to. The Q&A will be handled by our financial secretary, and they are already on board. So you can also use the hand raising button when it is Q&A. We hope that our presenters will spend about 30 minutes, and hopefully within 1.5 hours or thereabout, we should be done with the presentation to this program. So already we have Dr. Orish, our Vice President, is going to give the talk on the woman neuroscientist in resource-linked economy. So let me welcome our secretary, Dr. Eberechi Wogu, to give the citation of our first speaker, Dr. Chinna Orish.
Okay, thank you, President, for this opportunity. Now the citation for Dr. Chinna Orish. Dr. Chinna Orish has an MBBS degree. She's a senior lecturer, holds a PhD in anatomy, and lectures in the Department of Anatomy, University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. She had her postdoctoral fellowship in the Division of Neurotoxicology at the National Center for Neurotoxicology, United States of America, from the year 2016 to 2017. She is currently the Vice President of the Neuroscience Society of Nigeria. So Dr. Orish, you have the floor now. You can start your presentation.
Dr. Eberechi, for such a wonderful introduction. My topic is the woman neuroscientist in resource-linked economy. So, in 2017, I was in the United States of America. So I was opportune to attend the Women in Neuroscience luncheon during the American Society of Neurochemistry conference. After an erudite mentorship lecture by Professor Dana McTee, I was charged, I was motivated. I came back in 2017. By 2018, March, we inaugurated Women in Neuroscience in University of Port Harcourt. And our vision is to empower women to pursue career in neuroscience. So to empower women to pursue career in neuroscience, we'll have a bunch of activities lined up, to run workshops, to offer awards to students, to run a journal club, monthly journal club, health outreaches, STEM outreaches. Well, unfortunately, we're in a country where we have limited resources, lean resources. So what do you do in such environment? I needed to bring this cartoon to showcase us what we have in University of Port Harcourt. This is what we have in Department of Anatomy. It might interest you to know this is a microton. He has been here since 2000. He has been in Department of Anatomy since 2017 when I joined. It just recently, in the last concluded NUC accreditation, that we were able to procure new microton. And I remember vividly in the last concluded Women in Neuroscience Symposium, Professor Sharon gave us a very inspiring talk. He talked about turning bad experiences into good ones. It was quite inspiring and motivating. So when I talk about resource-lean economy, that topic was, I think, was selected because of the environment we are into. Lean, as we all know, we are in a very sick environment. We are financially incapacitated. We're not able to do anything because of funding, especially in my university. So turning this lean into a good one, I captured it as an acronym. L stands for learner, E, excellent, A, action-oriented, N, networking, and the noble character. So you need to be a learner. In an economy where you don't have what it takes, you don't have to throw in the towel, you don't have to give up. Learn that skill, read, be a voracious reader. As my friend Francis Bacon would say, reading maketh a fool man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. Travel for conferences, learn those skills, or wherever you are, you need to learn. You might be wondering, what for? Why am I learning all these things where I don't have the facility, I don't have the equipment? What am I gonna do with it? But I will tell you that it pays to acquire these skills. Then it's not only that you learn how to learn them skills that requires in the research, you soak yourself with a lot of knowledge. In the course of my career, I found out that women are prone to stress more than male counterparts. So what else do we learn? We learn how to eat, we learn to eat right. I found out that stress is inevitable. It's something that we face every day. As a woman, neuroscientist, you juggle from home, household activities, household chores, and then you try to meet up with your work in the office. It's not usually easy to balance. But peradventure, you are not eating right. You can agree with me what oxidative stress can do. Being a scientist, oxidative stress is an imbalance between antioxidant and free radicals. It's actually the mother of all diseases. I'll put it like that. Ranging from neurodegenerative disease, arthritis, hypertension, diabetes. So a woman that is not learning to eat right will not be able to function well in a resource-lean economy, because you will be able to execute when you are healthy. There's no way you function, there's no way you execute if you're not eating right. So I captured it here for women, healthy tips for women: eat well to live well, eat right to live right. You are what you eat. That's epigenetics. We know about epigenetics, the heritable changes that affect the gene expression without affecting the gene sequences. Your diet determines your health. So as a woman neuroscientist or women in neuroscience, the way of proper diet is the way of brainy living. To eat random is to end in neurodegenerative disease. Eat smart to work smart in real life. go back to the garden, the secret behind successful healthy weighing by Orish. This is a cartoon to showcase us, the oxidative stress and what it can do. If you can see on this slide, I say mother of all disease. Oxidative stress, as we know, can damage the lipid, the proteins and nucleic acid, and it causes inflammation. The inflammation is mother of all diseases, ranging from neurodegenerative, the neuropsychiatrist, as earlier said. So another acronym for lean, remember the first acronym I said is L stand for you must be a learner, you must be a reader. The second one is excellent. It's high time we strive for excellence in whatever we are doing. You pursue your vision with excellence, persevere in pursuit as it rewards with sparkling success. Whatever research you are doing, you do it. You need to divorce mediocrity. Make sure you do everything to the best of your knowledge. It rewards a great deal. Then the other alphabet in lean, remember I said L stands for learner, E stands for excellent, then A stands for action-oriented. In a situation where one is limited with resources, you don't have what it takes, you cannot even do any research because of funding. The economy is so bad, it's so everything, the generation is so poor. We need to be proactive. I said proactivity leads to success, reactivity leads to failure. We need to take action. It's not about taking action in terms of your research. You have a design you have at the back of your mind, Also take action. Maybe there's a call for application. Don't wait till things are set already. It can never. Put up that application, give it a trial. Failure is a prerequisite to success. Even if you fail, it doesn't matter. You fail to succeed. So you need to very, very proactive. We need to take action. Some of us have taken action and the time passed and we know the benefit. Actually, I brought this one because it's we had a woman in neuroscience see that book is 2019. What happened is after the inauguration, we took action. We didn't have anything, we just took action, put up the application, and we are successful. So we're able to take care of most of our activities lined up, like we design the website and other things. Also, the last one on that is networking and the noble character. For you to really, in a resource-lean economy, you need to network. Some of us are where we are today because of networking. You need to interact with international folks, get their contact, because there might be a call for funding or opportunity. So that the people that will help you, that assist you, to climb the ladder of academia, especially in women. We know that women are underrepresented and we face a lot of stress and all that. So recently we have many advisory board members that are really adding value to women's life. Women in Neuroscience Nigeria, we have Professor Dana McTee, have Beverly Lenku from US, have Professor Sharon. Professor Sharon, we all know Professor Sharon that usually runs the teaching tool workshop, and she's very, very ready to help women to climb the ladder of academia. So that's why the fact that we have resource-lean economy, we need to network, we need to interact, we need to associate with superior minds. Another thing I want to bring into, I want to inform us that there's a need for us to live a life of integrity. Noble character is very, very important. When you are given when you get a grant to run an outreach or do a project, please make sure that you give account of what you are doing. Networking and the integrity, they are not negotiable, and you can't separate them. It's very, very important. As we network, let us live a life of a noble character. And this will help us. So in a resource-lean economy, having taken this into consideration, doing all these things, that is like the universe will bend to our favor. Another point, I'm talking about, I mentioned the woman neuroscientist in resource-lean economy. So my lecture is latched on resource-lean. Resource-lean. That was why I choose that in resource-lean. When you talk about resource, most of the time you see us talking about, I don't have what it takes, I don't have the mentor, I don't have the capital, I don't have the instruments, I don't have the gadgets, I'm not gonna do anything. The problem is not actually resource. We don't have this, we are not resourceful. What do I mean by that? We are not creative. According to Edward de Bono, he said, there's no doubt that creativity is the most important human resource of all. Without creativity, there will be no progress. And we will be forever repeating the same pattern. We need to think outside the box. What you are seeing here, the cartoon you are seeing here is the experiment we did in University of Port Harcourt. Having traveled to the United States of America, we did a brain perfusion fixation with a sophisticated instrument, worth of millions of naira or dollars or thereabouts. So we came back, nothing to do brain perfusion fixation. So what we do, we use drip giving set. We make use of drip giving set, but in drip giving set, the needle is very tiny. So we are thinking, what are we gonna do? So in the course of this creativity, we're able to come out with embalming needle. That embalming needle is very, very big. That's what we used to do the brain perfusion fixation. You can see on the cartoon here. It was just the drip giving set. And this has attracted 3D printer to women in neuroscience. Important. Let me say women in neuroscience Nigeria. Let me take it like that. So by next year, we'll be running couples of workshop with the 3D printer after their first training. So what am I trying to tell us? That being resourceful is very, very important. In a resource-lean economy, you need to be resourceful. Think outside the box. We're able to design some other equipments for behavioral study. You don't have to wait till things are set. It can never be set, especially in this our country, Nigeria. Immigration is very poor. Funding is not their priority in the country. So we need to be resourceful. We need to think outside the box. We don't have to wait till things are set. We don't need to procrastinate. Because procrastination is a grave in which destinies are buried. So we need to take the bull by the horn. We need to take action. Okay, having said all these things, where is the way forward? Where are we heading to? Where is the trend heading to? There are other funding opportunities. I'm sure most of us have heard about ISN. Why I brought in this ISN, I'm sure we'll have we'll have some undergraduate students, postgraduate students, that are quite interested in, that are very enthusiastic in neuroscience. And most of them are making the mistake when they want to register, they register as a full member. I was a victim. I didn't know that when you register as a full member, there are some things that you will not benefit. So we need to acknowledge that we as a student member, and the student membership will last when you are PhD student, this one for undergraduate student, PhD student, till 5 years after your postdoc, you can apply for waiver. So unless you are entitled to apply for some of the grants and the funding that usually come up in the ISN website and the website. So they support conference, travel grants, research support. We also have a Committee for Aid and Education in Neurochemistry. This one, especially you can agree with me, in a resource-lean economy, you can get a research fund where you can use to buy some equipment in order to fly with your career. Also, we have a SFN, Society for Neuroscience. We have L'Oreal UNESCO Women Grant and OWSD. These are the funding bodies that we can apply. We don't have to wait. And the one thing I advise, we don't have to wait till things are ready. Just put up that your application, even if it is not, it doesn't seem to be good enough. Just fly it out for the first time. As I used to tell my people, failure is a prerequisite to success. You might do the first attempt, it doesn't work out. Ask for review. They send it to you. Then you do the second one. By the time you do it up to 4 times or 5 times, you see you it will be successful. So we don't have to wait till things are ready. It can never be ready. The only people that are making history, that are doing something, is people that take the bull by the horn, because we are in a resource-linked economy. The country is horrible. We are financially incapacitated. Innovation is very poor. It's difficult to get funding from the university. So another one is that IBRO. Some of us know about IBRO. IBRO has a lot of grants, travel grants, postdoc fellowship, research grant. Recently, Young IBRO Maternity Parenthood was also launched to help women so that they will be able to travel for conferences with their children. Then it might interest you too to know that women in neuroscience, we are a small group, but we are doing great things. We also launched our own child care travel grant. I'm sure by next year for the Ibadan conference, some women who will be successful be able to travel with respect to these grants. The details will be communicated to us later. So I'm wrapping up. I would like to say that one woman can make a difference, but together we can rock the world in neuroscience. So don't throw in the towel, don't give up. We are living in a society where we are limited, we are financially limited, nothing is working out, but I just want to tell us as women in neuroscience, you can join the women group, Hard Work Women in Neuroscience group, or have Women in Neuroscience Nigeria, and some folks are also starting a chapter, different institutions. So this will really help us, and always be proactive. Don't throw in the towel. Remember that behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who have her back. So I join you today to join the Women in Neuroscience. Men are not left out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Orish, for this fascinating lecture. Just as I've said, we'll be taking the Q&A after the second presenter has made his presentation. But I'm sure you must have been jotting down your questions. So I know that there are some hands, but we'll listen to Dr. Moses next before we now take the questions. I also have some questions, but I must commend the presentation and the effort of Dr. Orish. So let me welcome our secretary to read the citation of our second presenter, Dr. Moses Ekong.
Thank you, President. So here's a citation for Dr. Moses Ekong. Dr. Moses B. Ekong is an associate professor in anatomy department at the University of Uyo, Nigeria. He holds a PhD in anatomy from the University of Calabar, Nigeria. He later obtained a postdoctoral training at the University of Verona, Italy. He previously had laboratory experience at the Centre National de la Recherche Scientifique in France, as well as the University of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Dr. Ekong is currently the editor-in-chief of the Nigerian Journal of Neuroscience. He is also an editor and reviewer to some renowned journals. He is married with children. So Dr. Ekong, you have the floor now for your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Ebere, for the introduction. I'm about to share my screen.
Can Dr. Orish take down her slide so that Dr. Ekong can share his? Dr. Okay, yes. So you can share your slide now, Dr. Ekong.
All right.
I think there is this Dr. Orish, I use let's take this question from Zambia.
Okay.
And that's from Lubunka Kanda. You can read from the chat.
Do I read for?
Yeah, you can read.
Okay, thank you. Is that Lubunka Kawanda is from Zambia. I'm a woman in neuroscience, but I'm from Zambia. I don't know whether it's, we need to explain better, whether from Nigerian in Zambia or in Zambia. Is that, can I still join Women in Neuroscience Nigeria Association?
Yeah, okay, so I can answer.
Yes.
Yes, you can. We'll have a website where you can join. It's free of charge. But also, I'll advise you, because the last time we had a Women in Neuroscience Symposium in Ghana. The idea we want to spread women in neuroscience in different countries. So if you want to start a chapter, you go to our website. There's a form there you fill to start a chapter. Or guide you on how to go about it. But you can join the Women in Neuroscience Nigeria. Go online and join. We'll have some international folks too. Then we'll have a WhatsApp platform where you can join. We'll keep you posted, or intimate you on how to run your own chapter. So you gather women in Zambia, but maybe you start from joining us to learn few things and all that. I think that's the way we'll go about it. So you go online, we'll have our website. You join Women in Neuroscience. We're also on Facebook, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter.
Okay. I think she has responded. She's I think is Zambian. And do you accommodate foreigners, like somebody a Ghanaian to join Nigeria?
Yeah. We'll have some folks from India too. That are members of Neuroscience Nigeria. Yes.
Great.
On our website, there we have members. Some of them are ambassadors, and also they're working in their country too.
Okay.
Because of COVID, they didn't have physical meeting. We have them.
Dr. Orish, I'm just wondering how you were able to come up with this travel grant. Can you expatiate more?
For the travel grant, we'll get the details. It's just women in neuroscience. We are just doing it by ourselves. What we want to do is that, some women, young women, they cannot travel to conferences because of financial constraints. They would like to go with their baby. So what we plan to do is just to support them so that they can go with a caregiver, maybe a nanny that will hold their baby while they attend the conference. That's what we plan to do for women in neuroscience. It just maybe the baby might be less than 6 months. You have to go with the baby, then somebody will take care of the baby. But before that time, you must have applied. The details will, by next week, we're going to fly out everything. So they must apply, your paper must have accepted for publication before we'll now give you the award. We just say financial support from our own end. That's what we want to do.
That's really encouraging. And will it be, because you have said childcare, it must be somebody who has a child?
Yes, it's somebody that has a child. We don't give up. It's somebody that has a child. We want to encourage women that have given birth, maybe less than 6 months or that will tidy up the whole modalities and criteria. Somebody that has a child. So the idea is maybe the baby is very small. I want to travel with my baby, but nobody to take care and no money. I'll travel and pay for the nanny or whatever caregiver. So we'll support, and the person will be able to travel and do her presentation too. You must have sent it. Yeah, the person will do the
presentation. That's quite a nice work that
the baby. That's
what are doing.
That's our initiative.
And we're so proud of you. That's quite a nice job. Dr. Ekong, are you ready now?
Okay, thank you.
It says I'm already sharing, but I can't seem to notice.
No, we can see your slide now.
We have seen it.
Yes. Go ahead.
We can see. You can go ahead.
Okay. All right. So my talk this afternoon, okay, it's still morning. My talk this morning is on epilepsy management. Can helps be of help? This question is something that has bothered me for a while, which led me to decide to go into a research on what helps can really do in epilepsy management. And doing that, I've been able to see that there are a lot of work ongoing, and mine is just one in the picture. So by way of introduction, what is epilepsy? It is a disease, a neurological disease characterized by seizures. And the WHO calls it a spontaneous and simultaneous firing of neuronal populations and disturbance of consciousness. However, it's not all forms of epilepsy that shows seizures. Seizures is just one symptom which characterize epilepsy. So which takes us to looking at what are the symptoms we see in epilepsy. This includes confusion, aura, that is, there's a feeling that something is about to happen, yet you don't have control over it. Then suddenly the person falls down. In other instances, somebody just stays, or there is now the seizure movement, uncontrolled jerking movement, which is quite common. And one thing about this is that it comes with its own stigma, especially when there is uncontrolled jerking movement. And locally, people tend to associate it with one form of spiritual problems or the other. But in fact, it is just a neurological problems. There's also the strength, sensation, and emotions, loss of consciousness or awareness. One becomes unaware of the environment for a while, then the person later on recovers. The epilepsy can present in different ways aside the seizure component. Now, epilepsy can be said to be idiopathic, but however, there is other things that may tend to cause the manifestations of epilepsy. And these include the neurological infections, which can arise through bacterial or viral issues. Stroke can also lead to epilepsy. Head injury, when one has an accident, epilepsy can result. Then there is also the genetic basis of epilepsy. Brain tumor is one. Defects in development, during the process of development, there could be epilepsy issue that arise. And several other unknown causes of epilepsy, but the most...
Sorry, Dr. Ekong, sorry to... Can you please click on the slideshow where it's not moving? It's just on the first slide. And I'm sure you've gone past first slide.
Yes, I did.
It.
Okay, maybe what I'll do, maybe
please
stop
click on the slideshow.
Click on slideshow. Oh, it's out.
Okay, you can, yeah, no, you will upload it again, or share it again.
I should share the screen again.
Yes.
Yes.
And then click on slideshow.
Abraham, can you take a screenshot of this thing?
I am already on slideshow. I don't know.
All right. Now we are there, so you can continue.
Okay, well, I was trying to say that there are so many other unknown causes of epilepsy. So it is a complex issue, but the most important thing is that it is non-contagious. It cannot be passed from person to person, except in issues of familial transmission from parents to children, which may or may not manifest. So what is the global burden of epilepsy? The global burden of epilepsy, it cuts across all the world, but it is much reduced in countries in the Canada. Canada has a less population of epilepsy. Same thing with Russia and parts of China. And even Australia, they have less epilepsy issues. But Nigeria falls within a bracket of 280 to 330 which is an average population of epilepsy. But even at that, it is high. That is 280 to 330 prevalence per 100,000 population, which is on the high side. But the worst areas are in southern South African countries. Have it in the South African countries, where they can have up to 630 and above per 100,000 population. So epilepsy is widespread. Now, how can this epilepsy be diagnosed? It ranges from physical examination to neurological examinations. This is done when one presents himself at the clinic. There's also an issue of blood test. Blood tests can be done to look at the levels of the neurotransmitters, how it is. Then ECG can be done to test the heart rate, at the same time monitoring epilepsy. The same thing also goes for EEG, electroencephalogram. Then the magnocellular electrical test can be done using magnetic plates on the head, which now allows one to read readings. Then imaging test, which runs from MRI to functional MRI to PET scan. This can be done to check for epilepsy. So these are the simple tools which epilepsy can be diagnosed. And treatment is usually drug-based. And there are so many ranges of drugs which are used in epilepsy. It ranges from the diazepam, phenobarbital, phenytoin, valproic acid, etc. But all about this is that these drugs are taken for a long period of time. And so the problem of compliance often arises. Compliance because the patients could be tired of taking the drugs. Then secondly, there is an issue of adverse effects which may also arise, and also resistance to this epilepsy itself. So these associated adverse effects makes it imperative for new forms of treatment to arise, which helps us fit prominently. So herbs have been used continuously, but however, research is ongoing in different animal models. And different animal models have been used, this which ranges from genetic animal models for epilepsy to electrically induced animal models, as well as chemically induced animal models. These are some of the models used in the study of a different mode of epilepsy in animals. And in electrical and in chemically induced animal models, one can decide to do an acute treatment, an acute test to check for epilepsy, or a chronic test to check for epilepsy. One can decide to choose which one favors the purpose. But since epilepsy is usually a long-term effect, so the chronic models is usually more prominent these days. And this chronic models is what is also called the kindling model. It's a kindling model. And this is based on the fact that a sublethal dose or a subepileptic dose of any chemical or electrical stimulus is given to the animals either every day or every 2 days or thrice in a week. And this is able to cause the animals to develop consistent and spontaneous seizures even after the chemical has been stopped. And the way in which it is rated is through the Racine scale. The Racine scale is used to rate it. And the first tests usually show that once it undergoes the first process of epilepsy, it is called the immobilization, which is followed by the head nodding, and continuous body myoclonic jerk, then eventually rearing tonic seizure and tonic clonic seizure, which usually cause them to run wildly and jump in such an abnormal way. So some plants are known to be used for the treatment in animal models, and these include the Zingiber officinale, which we commonly call the ginger. Then they also have the Ficus platyphila, Acanthus montanus, the Rauwolfia vomituria, and Tetrapleura tetraptera. This is just a list. There are many more. These are the ones I considered that is relevant somehow to Nigeria. But there are many more outside of Africa which are being used in the process of epilepsy management in animal models. So our target is on Tetrapleura tetraptera, which is what we commonly use here, even though for a different purpose. So this plant is a deciduous tree which can grow up to the height of 1.8 meters, and it is prominent in the rainforest belt across West Africa. And it has a green, it usually gives rise to a green fruit, which when mature becomes brownish, like seen in the image, and an insect of it shows a mature or two matured fruit of the plant, Tetraptera tetrapleura, which we in Akwa Ibom, we call it uyayak, and people in the West think they call it aidan or something like that. So it is very useful here in the sense that it is used in preparing of dishes, especially in cases of a woman who has just given birth. They use it a lot to take care of the post-birth issues that women usually face. And also, there's a report of it having some hypertensive protection effect. So how do we even induce the epilepsy in the animal model using the kindling method? The animal is induced using different chemicals, but ours was the pentylene tetrazole. It is given to the animal intraperitoneally at a sub-convulsive dose. That is, one single dose is not enough to result in seizure, but continuous dosage will cause them to show seizures. So a subconvulsive dose of 40 milligram per kg body weight is given to the animals, and the animals is monitored 30 minutes after to see if they've developed seizure or not. And it is based on this that the Racine scale is used to show what level or what stage of epilepsy the animal has developed. So in order to see whether there is a protective mechanism for these, whatever drug or extract one is to give is done about 30 minutes to 1 hour before the administration of the pentylene tetrazole, which is what we did. So that our research is based on the activities of Tetrapleura tetraptera fruit extract on pentylene tetrazole induced epileptic seizures, as well as the brain function of the wished rats. Our first step was to establish a dose of the Tetrapleura tetraptera which could be beneficial and at the same time not toxic to the animals. So we divided animals into 5 groups. 3 groups were given the tetraptera at 250 milligram per kg, 500 and 1000. these represented the 5, 10, and 20% of the LD50 of the plant. So this was compared with the control, 3 sets of control. The first control was the one not given any form of treatment except distilled water. The second control was given only pentylene tetrazole, while the third control was given an average dose of the tetraptera. And so we now check for seizure scores, quantum protection, and behavioral studies. So looking at the result, under quantum protection, the group administered the 500 milligram, which we call the intermediate dose, was the one which had a better protection, which is highlighted, was the one with a better protection. There were less death recorded compared to the control, which was given only pentylene tetrazole, as well as given this control, as well as the PTZ alone, which was only induced with PTZ. The standard drug also showed protection against mortality. We looked at the seizure score, that arose, and the seizure scores shows that there was a reduced seizure score in the group. There was a reduced seizure score in the group administered the intermediate dose. A reduced seizure in the group administered intermediate dose, and this was consistent in the 9th and the 11th injections of the PTZ compared to the red one, which is the pentylene tetrazole, which was still on the high side. Looking at the spontaneous alternation in the TMS, it was observed that the group, which also was given an intermediate dose, had a better spontaneous alternation, even compared to the control and compared to the pentylene tetrazole group, which made us to adopt this particular concentration of the extract for further study. So the second step was to establish the most effective fractions of the tetraptera fruits. And we analyzed the N-hexane, the dichloromethane, ethyl acetate, methanol, ethanol, and aqueous extract of these. While at the same time, we looked at the seizure scores using mice. The results shows that the ones with the most, the alkaloid, flavonoid, and polyphenols were the methanol, ethanol, and the aqueous extract. So the N-hexane had only a small quantity of alkaloids being extracted, while the dichloromethane showed little, and the ethyl acetate showed just very few of them. So we therefore stick to the methanol, the ethanol, and the aqueous extract to go on what we identified. Then looking at the seizure score using these three, it was observed that the ethanol extract had a better outcome than the methanol and the aqueous extract, even though they were almost at par, but that of the ethanol was highly significantly different from that of the PTZ group, which now push us to continue using the ethanol extract in the next step of the research. So we decided to now establish the most active of the abundant metabolites. We looked at which of these metabolites, the alkaloid, between the alkaloid, flavonoid, and the polyphenol, which was more active in the fruit extract. And we looked at the seizure score. the result of the seizure score showed that though the ethanol was the most active, but the alkaloid group also had effect which was close to that of the ethanol, which made us to come to the conclusion that the ethanol fraction, the alkaloid fraction is the most active, the three between flavonoid and the polyphenols. So we lead us to conclude that the plant protects against BTZ-induced seizures, and that the fruit fraction also protects, although their protection is not compared to that of the whole plant extract. And so herbs can truly be of help. So herbs, therefore, can truly be of help. So the only thing remaining is for us to perfect their use so that it can be effectively utilized for anti-seizure activity. So in that, I acknowledge some of my students that we work together on this project. Clementina Inyodu was my PhD student. She has completed her course of study. Inyebong, Esiena, and Sanwe, them were my BSc students. They have since completed their study. Basi Okokun is my current MSc student. We are still also working on the project. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. President, sir.
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. So let me leave you in the hand of our financial secretary.
All right, thank you, sir. Now the lecture is open. Lectures are open for our questions. If you have a question, please, you may want to type the question out so that we can read it out, or you can raise your hand to make up your question. Any question from the floor is open.
Okay, while we wait for their question, let me first and foremost congratulate the two presenters, and to also first and foremost ask Dr. Ekong that is this plant T-tetraptera, is it commonly consumed or is still not consumed at all? So it's a foreign plant that needs to be prepared and taken afresh.
Well, the plant is commonly consumed. One just buys it in the market, wash it and put it in the pot, and they're already enjoying from the aroma it comes from it. So there is no special preparation for it. It is consumed by my people very much, used in preparing different forms of dishes.
Wow. Wow. So that means that those people who have this tendency towards epilepsy can increase their consumption of that plant as a vegetable, as a soup, or some kind of.
Well, the problem of increasing consumption will be a problem. There will be a problem if there is no standard dosage, which is what we are trying to look at. Yes, people just take them like that. For a normal person, it is fine, but somebody who is having an underlying problems already, the person also needs to be more careful.
Okay.
Okay, while we are waiting for the people from the floor to ask questions,
there's a question in the chat.
Okay.
Corinne.
Okay, I'm a PhD student of Professor Woyele from Nigeria. That's a question from Benga Wolabi. So thank you, sir, for the presentation. Could you briefly explain the procedure for seizure scoring? Dr. Ekong.
Yes.
The
procedure.
Yeah.
The procedure is simple. When once an animal is administered the pentylene tetrazole, it is left in an isolated place and monitored. What usually happens is that there will be either ear scratching, which will be persistent, or there will be steady grooming activity, which is usually not normal. Then if it goes into a higher stage, there is the overstretching of their body and even jumping from one point to another, which ordinarily they wouldn't do. So based on those activities they carry out, one scores them using the Racine scale. That is how to look at the seizures.
Okay. Another question. Sir, please, sir, what is the name of the plant consumed in question? That's a trapera. He's asking for the name of that plant. Maybe the local name.
Well, local name, it depends. We are a conglomerate of people. We have different names for different things. I know that the Yoruba call it Aidan, and we in Akwa Ibom and part of Cross River, you call it Biayak. So that is all I can say for now. But English people will think they have an English name, they call it Aridan or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, that's
I'm
another.
not sure whether you pronounce the Yoruba name very well.
Very well. No,
So
very
what can you spell the name?
Aidan.
Oh, that was really right. Aidan. I
In
mean, yes.
you pronounce it in an English way. I don't, not I don't. All right, there's another.
Okay.
Somebody is raising a query here. He said, "Thank you for your presentation, sir. Has tetraptera been found to have anti-epileptic property before your research? Besides, it's used for post-pregnancy issues and being anti-hypertensive." He's asking whether it has been tested before.
Yes, there are some works like that in Cameroon. I've seen some literature in Cameroon, and I think I've seen one coming from the Latin America. I'm not sure of the country, so I cannot speak, but yes, there have been reports of its anti-epileptic effect.
Then another question. Thank you. Sorry, another one enter. Okay. This candidate wants to know. He said, "Thank you for the wonderful presentation." He said, "Some of the plants that you have presented, that you have listed in the earliest part of the presentation, are they commonly found in different parts of Africa? For instance, in Nigeria, we are in Nigeria now. Can we find them in Africa, most especially?"
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
I know of Tetraptera. I think I worked with some people on that before. It has a very good scent. Very good,
Yes.
very good one. You want to eat it again and again. But okay, let me ask this question. So I'm a PhD student. This is somebody from Cameroon. I think it's fine if Cameroon. Somebody from Cameroon is talking now. He said, "Thank you for your presentation." Prof said, "Prof, I wish to ask if a preliminary studies was to test the effect of this plant in naive animals." He's asking the question, if the preliminary study was to test the effect of this plant in naive animals.
Well, the animals were not naive per se, because it was just to look at its role in epilepsy. Yes, actually, we tested them on naive animals which were not exposed to epilepsy, and there was no adverse effects to them. They were normal.
Okay. Any other question? I was going to ask, maybe while we're waiting for other questions to come up, were there any extensive toxicity studies on these plants before taking them at different doses for your experiments?
Yes, one toxicity study is usually to look at if it has a lethal dose. And our study resulted that the lethal dose was over 5,000 milligrams per kg body weight. So there was no need to go into doing much harm to the animal in terms of looking at toxicity study, because toxicity study usually involves a wide range of animals, looking at the liver, looking at the kidney, and looking at so many other things. So that is why we didn't go into that.
Okay. Somebody is thanking you for the clarification. But I want to assume that you use the OECD guidelines. Am I right?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. WHO standard. Thank you. Yeah, President.
Moderator, please, I want to ask Dr. Orish, how did they form the local chapters? Because we want these chapters to to spread throughout the regions of Nigeria and beyond. So what would be an advice of starting?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm listening.
I think so much. You have a form already, application form that is on website. We'll post it on the social media too. So some persons have applied and on the process of starting the chapter. So I will still post the form again, the application form again on the platform, on the social media. So people that are interested can start the chapter, work with them.
And if there's a link, maybe you can put it in the chat box here.
Okay.
And other may want to join from here.
From here, the link.
Yeah. If there's a link at all.
The website.
The website. Wait, no sign the website. Okay.
Can you just type it here, Dr. Orish?
Yeah, let me type it.
Not everyone here in NSM platform. Some are outside NSM because we posted this thing.
Let me type the website. From there, they can see whatever they want to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, more questions.
So, but can you also advise on things like funding? I mean, I'm keen to know how will you encourage them? How will they be able to go about funding to be able to stand on their feet?
On their own?
Yes.
We'll do that. Actually, as we do, the most funding we'll get is when we organize something, like we don't really have funding, it's individual funding for now. The funding so far is that, we'll have the grant, we did the April Seed Advocacy. That was when we were able to open our website, design our website. Then we did the Women in Neuroscience Symposium. Actually, for now, there's no, but the only thing is that it's not capital intensive starting a chapter. For now, maybe with time we'll strategize on that. It's just so, stimulate them on how to gather. You run the monthly journal club, and if you want to do outreach, normally usually individual contribution. But with time, like God's grace, we'll see how we can do that. We'll do support from up here because we are very generous. We are very generous. Okay. So that we just want to be doing something now. By God's grace, we can see how we tidy up things. We don't want to start with, because one thing I've learned in life is that when you start talking about funding for, you will not do anything. So we'll just keep on pushing and pushing, and the fund will, will start coming. That's my ideal.
I think Dr. Eberichi's hand is up. Eberichi, can you?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add a few things to what Dr. Orish has said. With regards to the people always feel intimidated to apply for funding to host events such as this Women in Neuroscience luncheons and all that, or workshops. So one of the what I perceive as the secrets to the success of Women in Neuroscience grant applications is visibility. Now, you don't wait till you get grants to do something, to reach out to the community or to do STEM awareness or anything. You start, most of the what we do, there are a lot of things you can do without those external funding. You start with the little you have. Most times we tax ourselves and just donate little money, and then most of the times Dr. Orish, she has been generous to fund some of the most of the outreaches. So when we go for all these outreach programs, workshops, encourage our students, mentorships, a lot of programs, we create, we let the world out there know what we are doing. we start it is posted on Twitter, Facebook, different social medias, and these funding organizations are tagged. You tag Ibro. When you do an outreach, which Ibro didn't give you grants, you just sourced the money, within yourself. When you do something like that, you go on Twitter, tag Ibro, let them know what you're doing. They are noticing all these things, and when next you apply, you'll be surprised that it could be successful. Most times, they even reach out to you like, oh, they retweet what you're doing in their Facebook or Twitter. They recognize you. So if you can create from wherever you are, the little you do, create visibility, global visibility. Let your funders, your potential funders, see that you're actually doing something on your own. Then they'll be more motivated to accept you when you apply. So that's one of the secrets that has been working for women in neuroscience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Iberechi, very much.
Wow. I think Dr. Mahmoud has his hand up.
Okay, Dr. Maina, nice to have you.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. It was a fantastic. They've both been very good presentations, and I want to thank the Neuroscience Society of Nigeria for organizing this. I think it's really good in keeping the community. I just wanted to add a comment.
Please charge.
I think with regards to the funding and other things, one thing that has worked for us for some time is evaluating any activities that we've organized. So for some of you, you know that we've been doing outreach for the past 9 years. So usually we kind of organize, have evaluations to measure the success of the activity. And when we apply for funding, that has really, really been helpful, because I could remember at first time, the first funding we got was from Biochemical Society, and we've had to organize like for 2 years without any funding. But then some of the evaluations that we got helped us a lot. And the second point that I wanted to mention is I think we can even think broader than IBRO for anyone interested in that, because there are a lot of organizations funding activities like this, like the Physiological Society. I know that Professor Oyele is a member of the Physiological Society. Perhaps he can mention a few things like that. He can mention some of the opportunities there. Biochemical Society and even Wellcome Trust, I think they do give some funding. Apart from that, there are a lot of other kind of organizations. But the key thing is that I think having evaluations will be really good in getting funding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Maina. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Maina. It was nice to hear your voice again, and for all that you do for neuroscience within and outside Nigeria. Yes, you mentioned my name about Physiology Society. It is true. I'm a rep for my university, and then there are a lot of grants. They really recently repackaged the grants, and you have like institutional grants, and like you can take, I mean, 500 pounds sterling to organize an outreach. Dr. Onosawa, our treasurer is also a rep, and he has benefited from some of these grants from Physiological Society. And I think we can also key into that to organize our programs. So we can have different sources for our funding of our activities. So if you need assistance one way or the other, myself and Dr. Onosawa can actually assist in getting you through to the Physiological Society. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to be a physiologist before you can be a member of the Physiological Society, provided you do something that, like, we are neuroscientists, so it will still key into physiology, because we also have a neuroscience team in the society. And I think Dr. Maina have also mentioned things like the Biochemical Society or Biophysical Society, and we also have the British Neuroscience Association that also gives some grants. So I think we shouldn't just limit ourselves to IBRO, ISN. There are other places we can also go to and get some funding to organize our activities. So Finsec, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, thank you, sir, my president. For the Physiological Society, I think PSOC just repackaged another form of grant. They call it Institutional Engagement Award. Now, instead of the departmental scheme that we have been doing before, and that they try to put them into different categories so that various classes of people or sets of people can assess them. And I think we got one, which we are going to do in January. We're expecting a friend from UK, it's also Oyele's friend, Professor Oyele's friend, who is coming to do like a workshop, training our students in some techniques. And this is what, and I recently I learned of another one they call it biologist. Some of our colleagues use that.
Yeah, company or biology.
Biology, that they came to Ghana through that, and I just heard about that one. So I think we can always circulate this on our platform. If there's any opportunity we see, we shouldn't keep it to ourselves. It's going to help a lot of people in getting grants to do a lot of things. These are things we can't do with our money. We use our salary to do most of this work. And our institutions, they are crying of no funding, nothing. IPPIs has taken their money. That has been the story. It's going to really, Dr. Marina, if there's any opportunity or links that please, let's put it on the NSN platform, the neuroscience platform for Nigeria. I think we have about two platforms. We are looking at how we can harmonize the two or label them 1 and 2 so that people will know that we have two, because we have been using neuroscientists, LIA, then neuroscientists. Thank you. My president, over to you, sir.
I think maybe I'll ask, if there are no other questions, I'll ask a final question to Dr. Orish also, that what do you think, in what way do you think the men, not men in neuroscience now, the men can do? What way do you think we can be of assistance in the Nigerian context? And I'm saying this because you know that we have an ALBA and WWN webinar coming up in February, and you know that I play a role there. And internationally, the women also appreciate what men do, and maybe as a support. And I'm co-chairing that webinar, so I'm really excited that I was made to co-chair that webinar. In Nigerian context, I'm not sure you should just go it alone. In what way we can come in?
I think as usual, men being the head, they can support us both financially and emotionally and mentally, just to encourage us. We might have a webinar where we can invite men to speak, to talk, because what we plan, because of in our program, actually, because of the conference, the NSN conference, we didn't have time, because we plan to be having a quarterly webinar. We have gather women forum where we can invite men as well as women. It depends on, like Professor Amadi has been, encouraging us. He has been a motivator. Even this time we'll gather, we'll have a women in neuroscience. Like there's that time we had a talk on stress. He was part of us. So men can still talk to us. When we'll have a webinar, they gather, you have anything they like, the way Mahmoud talked and all that. So anybody that's, funding opportunities and all that will assist. Because actually, as I told you guys and the very say, so we've been managing this thing by ourselves and believing that in the future. Because what I found out that women, they need empowerment. They need men, somebody that will mentor them, that will coach them. Haven't experienced this, and I didn't have a mentor and all that, and we face a lot of stress. So men can equally add value to our programs, by, can just support us both mentally, physically, and otherwise. Also, as you are doing now, ALBA, you are part of the ALBA and the World Women in Neuroscience. Can also take to them, inform them what we're doing and all that, and that would be pretty good.
All right.
Thank you very much for all that you do. I hope if there are no other questions or nobody is willing to talk.
Dr. Berechi's hand is still up. I don't know whether that was the old.
That's the old hand.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I think I can cite. I can cite the father of NSA and Sona in the house, Professor Amadi. Any word of encouragement, sir? I think he's there. I can see Professor Wood. Professor, am
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Good afternoon now. Good afternoon, sir. Word of
Good afternoon. I'm in Nigeria as I speak. I'm in Port Harcourt.
Oh, okay. Good.
Wow.
And
Welcome, sir.
thank you. It's good to have this session. I'm glad NSN could put this together. I think it's something to keep everyone in touch continuously. Dr. Orish, well done for taking the lead in the Women in Neuroscience platform.
Thank you, Prof.
And
Thank
I
you,
just
sir.
want to encourage, I see Lubumbaka from Zambia is among the participants. Lubumbaka, I'm expecting this kind of thing in Zambia. I think you can pull that through. The example has been made already, so it becomes easier to expand it. Nigeria is quite big, so what has happened in Uniport can be done in any other university in the country. So yes, it says women in neuroscience, but at the end of the day, it takes the whole group to pull them through. You know, they always have my support, and any group that wants to start anything like that will definitely get my support in that area, because there's no other way but to throw yourself in the middle. Moses, well done. I mean, your herb of interest is actually of interest to some of us too, and I'm glad you're doing that work. And there are things I am planning just for the continent, which by God's grace, by end of January, I'll be making that announcement. And it will require those working on herbs, African fauna and flora. So anybody who is working in that domain, hopefully by end of January or February, I'll be making an announcement on those areas in a project that I'm developing right now. So I wish all of you the best, and I'm always on standby as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prof.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Over to you, President, sir.
I thought you were asking for other questions. Okay, so if the Professor Danjuma is here, I don't know whether he wants to say one or two things before we leave. Professor Danjuma.
Professor Danjuma.
Okay.
My president, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Sincerely, I enjoyed the two talks. I think just like you said, we started last year. We are able to continue with some of these webinars because this is the order of the day now. We need not gather once a year to have a conference, reach our knowledge on neuroscience. So I think this is a very good idea. I know how you labored, you know. The idea came from this pharmaceutical company, even though they withdrew, but you insisted the Neurotalk must continue to see that today we Neurotalk. And I'm hoping that the Neurotalk once in a while will continue in this direction. My felicitations to all of you. Thank you. I enjoyed my listening. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. So, do we have any other
I think
questions?
we have to Victor Woyele is here. Who is
Prof,
this?
can we take a Photoshop, screenshot of the
Screenshot.
Okay,
yeah.
let everybody put on the video.
Let's take a screenshot, then we'll wrap it up.
Sorry, guys. I see Professor Alfonso's is in the chat. Is it there? Okay.
Oh, Professor Alfonso.
Okay.
Bro, I don't think so. Have I seen?
Yes, I'm here.
Easier, so we can.
Yeah, I'm here, and then I'm so thrilled. You know, it's just one of those things that makes somebody feel that, yes, something is happening. I listened to the talk, and then I feel that the talk is so vital, and then it's a way forward. And that mostly for women, we know that Society for Neurosciences out here in the United States are encouraging anything about women to join the society or to join the discipline. So they do everything. They call it WIN, Women in Neuroscience. I guess we will extend this knowledge to them so that they will accord us the same support, that they are giving other countries or other societies. So it's very important. And then at home, more of this to be done, mostly Neurotalk like this, so that I know there are other women, say women doctors, physicians who are taking professions in neuroscience. So they want to know if there's something for them, and then we can encourage them to come around. Something like this is extremely important that they know that there's something for them out there that women are given a chance, to progress in neuroscience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think our secretary, I hope you have taken the screenshot.
I think
While she's
Dr.
doing that,
Orish
okay, Dr. Orish, whoever is doing that, take the screenshot of the attendees. There is a last question for Dr. Orish here. He said, I'm excited about that from Sandra, that is an undergraduate, and she wants to know how she can sign up. If you can see that from the chat box.
You can go to the website. Go to the website.
Okay.
You sign up as a member. It's on the website. Okay. Yeah. Then other things like starting a chapter. There's a form there too. If you want to start a chapter, you want to be an ambassador. Everything is on the website and the social media.
Right.
Social media platform.
So I want to thank every one of us that have participated, to thank the speakers, Dr. Ekong and Dr. Orish, for preparing and giving us these continuity lectures, which are very educative. And I want to thank everybody that has been involved in the organization and our financial secretary. As we do mention, ALBA and WWN organizing a webinar for Africa, and it will be taking place February 2nd. We should be on the lookout. We'll advertise that. Dr. Orish will still be one of the speakers there, so we can still listen to her. She'll be sharing the stage with women across Africa and be discussing the prospects and challenges. Meanwhile, I wish every one of us a happy festive period. And if you are not yet a member of NSM, please come and join the group and let us move neuroscience forward in our dear country. And those that have joined from other countries, if there is any way you think we can be of help to you, please reach out. We are on Facebook. We have our internet site that you can also log in, and you can also reach out to us. Thank you very much for all the attendees. I think we have to call it a day. I appreciate all the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. I'm going to see photo. No.